It's been nearly 3 years. Let's run it back. Prime Salt LOL here. Yikes. You know, I like Chainsaw Man. I saw this scene in 3D. Now we got a Dommy yandere to please. Hell yeah! Listen, a PSA from me to you, if you have a porn addiction or just struggle with viewing suggestive scenes, do everyone in your local theater a favor and goon before you go to this show, because you're gonna have a hard time watching this without certain urges. So please remember to be respectful to the people around you, because I had some mentally ill retard rubbing one out when Reze took off her pants, and it really just disturbed the entire theater and ruined the movie for everybody. Like, I was seriously unable to focus after that. But holy shit, this movie was really freaking cool. Oh, and the retard in question was me. This movie was a little too visually good to be true, yet here it is in all its glory. This movie had just about everything you could want. Solid pacing for the most part, but I'm gonna touch on that. Something I know you all know about, which was the animation being crispy fucking clean, and an interesting plot that's broken up into 2 parts. But before I glaze it, I'm gonna touch on the stuff I was on the fence about, or that I could see people not liking. And I'm gonna be complimenting a lot of things this movie did better than season 1 that I criticized in my previous CSM vid. And that is not a very well made video. But if you wanted context for my praise, you can watch that first, but spoilers aren't gonna be for a bit, so buckle up. Now, like I said, this movie is broken up into 2 halves, so partial spoiler, close your ears, but if you wanted action immediately, you're not getting it. It's pretty slice of life from the beginning, and while I actually like that stuff, I could see some people being a bit disappointed by that since it has been 3 years. But for what it's worth, it is nice to watch, and that's a lot better than what I could say for season 1. I felt the slice of life stuff really dragged, and it was a lot more difficult to kind of get through some of it because I personally just didn't like the humor, but here it just didn't bother me that much. I felt the movie managed to keep me engaged because it was tonally consistent. There was a scarceness of some of the things that I would have considered jarring in season 1, but worked fine here. Honestly, that's the best praise I can give this story, is that with the less time they had to use, the better everything felt. And it probably helped that it had to make me not only meet, but then also care about a character with no context. This is a movie introducing a character the CSM anime only watchers know nothing about. If there was something between the last episode of season 1 and here, I didn't see it, so be prepared to not be fully aware of what is going on. And I don't think that was that bad either. You should get locked in pretty quick. It's not a very complicated story. But I know that can be confusing since you get thrown right into this plot with a handful of characters that we've never heard of. And if we have heard of them, they were irrelevant then, and they're irrelevant now. And I know that's not something everyone can just easily dismiss. Honestly, for me, there is nothing more annoying in this show. Okay, I won't be that mean. This really is just a general anime manga issue, but the characters just feel super irrelevant until the story wants to make them relevant, which is something I can only talk about in the spoiler section. But the character work here was really improved. Denji is not as annoying, and I know that might just be a me issue, so I'm pretty sure you're all just gonna love him here. Hell, even I love him here. He's actually a very good character. While he does have the things that I didn't like, and I'll reiterate, I was unbothered by that. But this story is just so much more focused that I think any issue I had is simply just absent because I don't have time to hate. And I've said it before, my hate for Makima and Denji are abhorrently personal and exist from very dumb things that this movie just didn't have time to do. Even my problems with Aki weren't really there. I wasn't that salty with him like I was during season 1. I don't know, maybe binging Chainsaw Man just isn't the tech, guys. But back on topic, Reze is absolutely the star of the show. Not only is her charisma off the charts, she actually has a stupidly adorable personality. I think it's real easy for a story to take a character like hers and make her have uncanny vibes, which I'll talk more about in the spoilers, but she's an absolute gem on screen that you guys get to look forward to. Also, I think I like Power a lot more here too. I don't really remember her being this funny, but I might have just been bah humbug because I know Makima isn't gonna let me between her 2 incredible personalities. But outside of the slice of life stuff, I wouldn't critique too much more. I don't even really need to nitpick, except for one stupidly personal issue. I seem to have a lot of those with this show. The dialogue. Oh my god. Dialogue can be so fucking bad in anime. This is something I've been talking a lot about on my channel recently, and it's not awful here, it's actually fairly good. But then there are just random scenes of a guy who's telling me who he is, or telling me what she did, trying to make me stressed about them, and I just cannot be fucked. As a matter of fact, please shut the fuck. I know a lot of people who watch anime are fairly unbothered by this sort of thing, but the dialogue absolutely, however scarce in this movie specifically, did ruin my immersion every once in a while. But who cares about that? Cause look, the first genuinely adorable yandere in history is here. But besides the dialogue and character issues that I'll finish talking about in a little bit, this movie was nailing it, dude. Not just in writing, character designs, or art style, any of that. The fucking soundtrack is even just so... And then the imagery... Oh my god, I think I'm gonna... The animation is just absolutely flawless. Genuinely one of the most engaging visuals you're gonna get, and you should be taking that fairly serious. I just reviewed a movie with the most impressive animation I think I've ever seen. Trust me when I'm telling you, the trailers don't show you shit. Mappa had people performing like their lives were at stake. You know what? Knowing Japan, they probably were. Now for the last non-spoiler praise I have. Something in episode 1 that I really liked was back in this movie. The art, animation, and straight up ambiance and aesthetics in the first season was completely different from the first 10 minutes of episode 1. I really did not like how that turned out when I first watched this anime. I feel that the vibe episode 1 had, where I thought Chainsaw Man could have been a banger, was present in this film. It looked like a shitty gritty story, felt like a shitty gritty story, and the idea behind Denji being an immature, low emotional development kid who was raised by a disturbing, indecorous world that no kid should have to grow up in finally shined through, and I could appreciate his struggles here. I think a conversation with my buddy I had a few weeks ago probably helped me accept this a little more easily because recency bias, but probably not. I think if I rewatch Chainsaw Man, I'll dislike the same stuff. If you're looking to avoid spoilers, here's the time to return back. And for those of you who don't care, or the people that want to see what's being discussed, spoilers are now. Bye-bye. Now that the losers are gone, let's talk about that good shit. Actually gonna start with something more tame first. The plot we follow I don't think is anything special, and I don't think it needed to be either, just a general statement for anyone else who was thinking that. If anything, the fact it was simple made it easier to enjoy, because I don't really remember a lot from the first season. Characters like Angel here, who became Aki's partner, or this girl who had a half a second screen time to exist, didn't really make that much difference in the plot. The Angel did give Aki a good scene, but before that, I could look this up, but I'm trying to get this done before I go to work. I don't remember seeing this guy in season 1. I'm not crazy, right? Like, the movie went out of its way to do the annoying exposition of explaining him as not being the strongest over Kishibe because he's lazy. Nice writing. But I don't think they'd put that in there if we've seen him before, no? While gathering clips, I found out he was in episode 11, so they just really added that to fill screen time. It even flashed back to him and Aki partnering up, which made me think they felt it necessary to do so he wouldn't feel out of place. But it's so glossed over that not reminding us how they teamed up or telling us how supposedly powerful he was for the sake of giving him traits, even though we can clearly see he couldn't be fucked. Legitimately, a lack of information would have been better. He had this mystery to him that's just watered down by his informative scenes. Like when he's helping Makima finish off Reze, having fewer scenes would have made this execution a lot more interesting for his character. Unfortunately, the more the movie tried to make me aware of him, the more desensitized to his character I think I became, where by the time we get to that final scene, I just don't think caught me off guard in the way that the movie wanted it to. Legitimately, I don't think I would have even remembered this character was in the movie if I wasn't writing the script. But I really did like that scene with Aki where he grabbed him and tried to stop him from dying and then kind of broke down when they were finally out of harm's way. And to be fair, that scene was clearly for Aki's character more than him, but it is a cheap way to manipulate your audience when the movie has been alluding to him wanting to die the whole time. Because you gave me 6 scenes and about half of them were him being like, I'd be better off dead. Just put the fries in the bag, bro. Still, this is really just me nitpicking. I was pretty whatever about this character, but there were enough awkward scenes that jarred me enough to want to make a mental bookmark and mention it, because he's not the only character that had this. We had a cuckoo, psycho, insane, I do terrible things to people because I know how to, wanna know how I got these scars ass character, and he clearly only existed to make the Typhoon Devil team up with Reze to make the final fight more insurmountable, because when we next see him, he tries to kidnap Reze, only for her to clock his T with the swiftness, and it was a cool takedown, I can't lie. I just wanted wonder if there was a better way they could sell her turn to the dark side to us. His intro was really well shot though. It was set up in front of this like mirror, and we're looking at him talk with the Typhoon Devil through a door, and the shot doesn't really move. We do get like a little sequence of it showing us the environment, but then when he walks away, the shot just holds on that like bathroom mirror, so he can have this little like aura dialogue moment. It just looked really cool to me. Like I said, the imagery in this movie is fire, but scenes like this that were rushed made the movie's pacing drag just a bit. We're going from one scene that probably was really good, everything was flowing, to a scene that just sticks out like a sore thumb in comparison. This also made scenes that typically would have a lot of impact feel extremely flat. That's mainly Flame at the use of the Typhoon Devil, where on one end, Denji and Lava Girl's brother got creative with his chains and Typhoon's clouds to get closer so they could kill her. Something still felt underwhelming. And that sequence was focused more on spectacle, you know, very lizard brain. Don't overthink it, just enjoy yourself, gorgeous animation schlock. I just think it had potential to be one of those animation that change your life if Typhoon had just a little more focus. Cause the way the animation used character motions to shift a camera angle or transition shots was hella satisfying, and I like appreciating that stuff, but because of some sluggish scenes early, when the second half, which is all action hits, the nuance will just go over your head unless you take time to think about it. But the movie has no time for you to process anything during the second half, especially for the creative stuff our characters did, or the tension we should be feeling for our characters feels almost entirely absent during the sequence. Where the visuals are all there, everything looks fantastic, it just does not feel as heavy as it could be. And that doesn't ruin anything, but it would have been nice to have that extra dimension to the story. This is all really just nitpicking though. A side character that I need to nitpick in a positive way, however, is Shark Boy. He is the only extra that was having an MVP level performance. Not only was he just funny, but he's constantly seen in shots where unless you're looking for him, you won't see it. I can't even remember the first scene that I caught this too. I saw his stupid little fin in the ground at one point and I just kept looking for it afterwards. His role also carried a lot of relevance in the film. He contributed so much that without him, Denji would have legitimately been turbo screwed. He was just a great time for me, and I need to get more people on this train. And his English voice actor absolutely killed it. Like the sub and dub sounded almost identical. Listen to this.
Bomb is coming.
There's a reason I wanted to mention the good things about him, because I don't think any of the other side characters or expendables come even remotely close to him. Where if those characters were done just a little bit better, would have elevated the movie heavily. Not saying it took anything away from it. It would have just been the cherry on top of the cake. Just think about it like this, okay? Remember that squad Aki was training with? Imagine if we had cute little subtle character scenes leading up to this absolute fisting of a beatdown from Reze, where we would have felt the weight of those characters' deaths. Especially because Aki is friends with one of the officer guys there, that when that guy goes up to Aki and asks him to join that division, makes the situation that much more sad, because we know Aki is doomed to die. But the movie wants to manipulate us, so obviously we can deduce Aki's not the one getting screwed over here. I'm fine with the series killing characters off, but trying to establish relationships and make me care about them only to kill them before I've had time to even process the dynamic is just so blah. I don't know, I just feel like it cannot be that hard to have characters where they have little small exchanges throughout a series instead of right when they're about to get put in a Twitter bio. Which leads me to the best character in the movie. The psych ward fine shit herself, Reze the Bomb Devil, is almost done perfectly. And for good reason, because without her being solid, the movie would absolutely fall apart. She is so heavily focused on in this movie. I'm pretty sure she has the most screen time out of any of the other characters as well. If she had any of the nitpicks that I've mentioned so far, I think the movie would be kind of insufferable to sit through. But she doesn't. As a matter of fact, the movie goes overboard with everything that has to do with her. The effects and animation techniques they use for her powers, as well as her transformations or her setups, are just so freaking cool. Not to mention when they just do the close-ups with her, dude, it looks so... She's such a badass, actually. And she's a very dynamic character, because like I said before, she's absolutely adorable in a psycho insane kind of way, but you know what I mean. No, they actually contrast these personality traits extremely well, where she starts doing that sort of adorable personality, you know, I'm such a good girl, I'm so innocent, while literally being insane. Legit smiling in an uncanny way while acting like a damsel in distress. Like, hear me out here, guys. I can fix her. No, I think the biggest criticism I would hit her with, and it's really like fake. It's just how she approached Denji. And I don't actually think that she knew what kind of person Denji was, because her being nice out the gate was probably just a subtle intentional character flaw, because by the end of the movie, she does drop that bittersweet line where she says, I haven't been to school either. So even though she learned how to appeal to people in a certain way, had she done that shit with any normal person, it would not fly. Probably. I know some of you guys are so down bad you chase red flags like it's a 3v3 on high ground. But even the way Denji beats her is actually super smart. She's perpetually being more irritated the longer the fight goes, making her get closer so Denji stops slipping away. The movie even made us think Denji didn't get what Shark Boy meant with his chains, only for him to have baited her into close range. Their face-off is done exactly how you'd want it. Quick and intuitive. Also, when she finally reveals to Denji that she's bad, was so sick, dude. That shit was actually horrifying. The movie played it up like a rom-com scene where you get that wide shot of the festival fireworks with them kissing. Then you just hear Denji start grunting and then he drops, only for the camera to pan to her sticking her tongue out with his tongue on hers. That was cash fucking money. Also, the festival scene was hella cute to me. I thought what they did with the camera timing was such a vibe that really sold the uncanniness of the scene. But besides her, this little intro they had in the movie was also really fun to watch. I'm pretty sure it had some relevant stuff in it, so if you haven't seen the movie, try to pay attention. It's fun to watch, and the song is cool. The music and sound effects are incorporated so cleanly, and Reze's are absolutely so satisfying to hear. Also, Denji's chainsaw mode is straight heat. The way they animated him is fire. I also think this movie made Aki a lot cooler for me, and it's probably because I haven't seen season 1 in a long ass time. But I really hope they keep this animation style going. I'm honestly not a big fan of the anime movie trend, which I doubt is a unique take. But honestly, the animation was overdoing it in season 1. It looks really clean, and I mean extremely clean, but the studio literally suffered for the production. Honestly, this kind of plot is just better looking, gross and shitty, with a smoothness that cannot be topped. And I felt the way they did the animation in this movie was exactly that, to the point that the timing of when it released is almost perfect with the energy it was giving off. It was such a perfectly Halloween-y vibe, which is real funny to me because I don't think Japan is big with Halloween. But this movie was a good time. If you haven't seen it and are wondering if you should, go do it. It's a solid Halloween vibes movie. The colors are great, the music is so nice, and it just feels so good to watch. I don't really know how I would officially score it because I think this movie will be divided. If you want my score, check out my pinned tweet, it's social totally. But CSM shut 3 years ago me the fuck up. I guess I'll score it Reze's a 10 out of 10. And he stays talking. Fair score, but animation and fight scenes are a 10 out of 10 though. Bye bye.